In Revit 2024, the site tools have been completely redesigned. In the old Revit, you modeled sites by using Toposurface and subregions. These tools are gone now. In Revit 2024, you will now use Toposolids, which have a thickness instead of only being a surface. First, the Massing and Site tab has been reorganized. In the old Revit, you could see tools such as Toposurface, building pads, and subregions. In Revit 2024, the Toposurface tools have been removed and replaced by the Toposolid. Let's talk about the new Toposolid. In the old Revit, the Toposurface tool has some limitation. The shape was created by adding points, but you couldn't create concave shapes, and it didn't have thickness. In Revit 2024, Toposolids are a hybrid between a floor and a Toposurface. The way to create a Toposolid is very similar to floors. You need to draw an extrusion boundary. Then you can modify the sub-elements in a similar way to roofs and floors. Add points at specific heights to create the topography. Press Escape and you should now see the contour lines. As with the old Toposurface tool, you can also generate the Toposolid by importing a file. In the drop-down menu, select Create from Import. Pick either a CAD file or a CSV file. Toposolids are very similar to floors. You can pick a type in the type selector. In the new default Revit template, you can see there are a few types, including grassland, water, and concrete path. Similarly to floors, you can add multiple material layers to the Toposolid. In Revit 2024, Toposurfaces are discontinued. You cannot create a new one. If you open an old Revit file that contains a Toposurface, you will still be able to modify them though. When you select the Toposurface, you will see a tool called Generate Toposolid. Select a level and a Toposolid type. You can see that the Toposolid will be placed on top of the old Toposurface. You can either delete the old Toposurface or archive it just in case. There are a few limitations to this tool. The building paths are completely ignored when generating the Toposolid. The subregions will be converted to subdivisions. Feature 1.4 Subdivision on Toposolid. In the old Revit, you could place different materials on a Toposurface by using the subregion tool. However, this tool was limited because there was no thickness difference between the materials. In Revit 2024, subdivisions are replacing subregions. To create a new one, select the Toposolid and click on Subdivide. Draw the boundaries and click on the green check. Right away, you can see that the subdivision has a thickness. When you select the subdivision, you can adjust the subdivide height. However, you cannot set a negative value. Then, you can set any material. There's a checkbox called Inherit Contours. This lets you decide if you want to see the contours or not for the subdivision. In the old Revit, you could create holes in your Toposurface by using the Building Pad tool. You only needed to draw the boundaries and select the height. Now, building pads are gone completely. To replace the tool, Autodesk recommends using a mass void. There are a few ways you could do this, including creating custom families. Another solution is to create an in-place mass. In this case, we create a shape and extrude it as a void. You can modify the shape of it. Then, go to the Modify tab and select the Cut tool. Click on the Toposolid, then on the void. You can see that the hole is created in the Toposolid. While using the massing tools can let you create any shape, this is more complex than using the building pads, and user might face a steep learning curve. Feature 1.6 Contour Settings per Types. In the old Revit, there's a project-wide setting for topography contours. The tool is located in the hidden menu in the Massing and Site tab. In Revit 2024, each Toposolid type can have different kinds of topography contours. In the type properties of a Toposolid, click on Contour Display. You can modify the height interval at which contours will be displayed. Also, you could decide to turn off contours for a specific type. For this water Toposolid, we delete both contour types. Feature 1.7 Cut Toposolid. Toposolids can be cut by multiple categories, including walls, floors, other toposolids, structural foundations, and more. In this case, we want the foundation wall and footing to cut this Toposolid. In the Modify tab, click on Cut. Select the Toposolid and click on the wall. Repeat the same steps for the footing. An interesting feature is that the Toposolid volume will be accurately calculated based on this subtraction. Feature 1.8 enables slab edges on Toposolid. In the floor drop-down menu, select Slab Edge. Set an offset if required and click on the edge of a Toposolid. You can see a 3D shape is created. In theory, this could be used to create curves. However, there's a limitation. This tool cannot be used on Subdivision. Since subdivisions are used to create roads, this is a big problem. I hope it gets fixed in the next release. Feature 1.9 Split Toposolid. Go to the Modify tab and select the Split tool. Click on the Toposolid. Draw lines to indicate where you want the splits. The lines don't have to form closed loops. Then, you can select each Toposolid and select a different type or set a different offset. Feature 1.10 Link Topography becomes Toposolid. If you are linking a civil 3D file by using the Link Topography tool, the linked element will become a Toposolid. You can select the Toposolid type in the Link menu. Feature 1.11 Toposolids can host floor-based families. In this example, we use a piano floor-based family on the Toposolid. You can see it adapts to the shape of the slope. Feature 1.12 Use Toposolid Graded Region. Graded Region is a tool used to modify a topography in different phases. It was used with the old Toposurface tool, but it also works with the new Toposolid as well. For this feature to work, make sure the Toposolid is created in the existing phase. Go to a view in the new phase, then click on Graded Region. Pick the first option. You can modify the sub-element's height. When you are done, the original Toposolid is set as demolished. If you select the new Toposolid, you can see net and cut fill volume values. Be careful, it is possible these values might not be accurate. Feature 1.13 Preview points in shape editing. By default, when you select the Toposolid, a floor or a roof, you don't see each sub-element point. When one of these elements is selected, you can click on the small arrow here. Click on Preview Points. You will now see all points when the Toposolid is selected. If you want to become a Revit Power user, look no further than the Revit Pure Triple Threat Mega Bundle. Start with Basics, where you'll learn the foundational skills you need to get started. Next, dive into Design to learn how to create stunning presentation documents, all done by using Revit. And with Manage, you'll discover how to keep your Revit models healthy, efficient, and automated. When you purchase the Mega Courses bundle, you'll also receive the Revit Pure Pro Template, a powerful tool that incorporates the best practices workflows in Revit, ensuring that the projects meet the highest industry standards. The Mega Bundle gives you a 30% discount compared to purchasing each courses individually. Head to revitpure.com/bundle to enroll in our program. Feature number 2. New sample model, Snowdon Towers. By now, you are probably sick of seeing this house. It has been the default Revit sample model for a very long time. In Revit 2024, there's a new sample project. It is called the Snowdon Towers. There are 7 different Revit files for this project, including models for architecture, structure, electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and other link files. Let's have a look at the architecture model. Immediately, you can see that this is a complex project. There are classical balustrades, brick patterns, Corinthian columns, curved curtain panels, and many other wild complex elements. The models have been separated into multiple files following the best practices. Since the facades are complex, they are in a linked project. There are some stunning curved families in there. There's also a separate model for the site. It uses the new Toposolid tool. It even includes a tunnel. The project has high-quality structure and MEP models. It is nice to see that all the file sizes are below 100 megabytes. This project has been developed by a team of real professionals. Overall, this could be a great way for users to learn about high-level modeling and collaboration best practices. The only limitation is that this sample file is only available in Imperial units. Feature number 3. New Simplified default templates. In the old versions of Revit, There are multiple templates. They haven't been updated in a long time, and they are not very good. In Revit 2024, there is now a single multi-disciplines template. There are reference planes indicating the origin of the project. There's a scope box. There's also a north arrow and a graphic scale. The default font used in this template is Trebuchet. This is a multi-discipline template, which means the views and sheets include architecture, coordination, structure, and all MEP disciplines. The template includes legend views with the symbols and text styles. Overall, this is a decent effort, but it is obviously not as good as the Revit Pure Pro template. Feature number 4. New Textures Visual Style. There's a new visual style. It is called Textures. It allows you to see the texture images of the materials, but without any fancy lighting effects. This way, you keep good performance in your 3D view. This allows you to quickly test textures to preview renderings. It could also be used to create presentation documents. Feature number 5. Schedule revision clouds. You can now create a schedule of all revision clouds in your project. The default parameters include comments, mark, and revision. However, you can add additional fields by clicking on this drop-down menu. You can select from the revision, the views, the sheets, or the project information. In this case, we add the view name and the view sheet number. You could also include the revision date. In this project, we have a total of 3 revision clouds. The nice thing here is that you can use the Highlight in Model tool to see where the cloud is located. You can use the Mark tool to give a unique number to this cloud. And you can use the Comments tool to describe what is being revised. Overall, this could be an efficient way to track revision and issues in your project. There's now a dark theme in Revit. Go to the Options menu, then select Colors. By default, this will use your window settings. You can override and set it to dark or light. You can now pretend you are still working on AutoCAD. The canvas colors can be set separately from the rest of the user interface. In the View tab, click on Canvas Theme. You will notice that most menus are still white. Now, let's talk about the improvements in the new Dynamo 2.17. The first is the new Node Inputs Autocomplete. Double-click on an input. An autocomplete menu will appear. This recommends specific nodes you should use as the inputs. For example, Dynamo suggests a number slider or a number node. You can see the percentage of confidence for each option. Select an option to create and connect the node. You should now have better performance in Dynamo with the hardware acceleration. It is turned on by default, but you can find it in the preference under Visual Settings. Make sure it is active. Dynamo now has in-product node documentation. When you right-click a node and select Help, a window will pop up directly in Dynamo instead of sending you to a web page. You will get instructions on how to use the node you've selected. The Dynamo player is used to run Dynamo scripts without having to open Dynamo. In Revit 2024, when you run a script in the player, you will see an icon if there's a warning with the script. Click on the View Issues to see what the warnings are. You can click to expand. Feature 7.5. Expose graph dependencies to Dynamo player users. A big problem with the Dynamo player is that this script might have packages that a local user has not installed. With the new version, there's a warning that says, Missing dependencies. You can click on View Dependencies to show them. In this case, the clockwork for Dynamo package is missing for this user. You can click on Fix in Dynamo to solve this issue. There are other interesting improvements in this version of Dynamo. Check out the link in the video description to learn more. Feature number 8. Set revisions to multiple sheets. This feature has actually been added in the Revit 2023.1 update, but many people might have missed it. In the old Revit, you could assign a revision on a sheet by using this tool in the instance properties. However, it was not available when multiple sheets were selected. Users were forced to use Dynamo or PyRevit to set revisions to multiple sheets at once. In Revit 2024, the Revisions on Sheet menu is available even when multiple sheets are selected. Feature number 9. Modernized Project Browser. The project browser has been improved. The icons are different, but the biggest improvement is the search bar. The relevant results will immediately display when you search, including results in the types and headers. Feature number 10. Hide parameter in Scope box. In the old Revit, you could only set a number value to the scope box height when it was being created. Afterwards, you needed to drag the blue arrows to adjust the height. In Revit 2024, you can always adjust the height parameter in the instance properties of the scope box. In Revit 2024, the icons have been simplified to remove the drop shadows effect, probably for a better visual look when using the dark theme. Feature number 12. Resize all schedule rows height. In the old Revit, the height of the schedule rows is determined by the selected font. You cannot customize it without changing the font. In Revit 2024, you can change the height of the rows. Select the schedule that is placed on the sheet. In the instance properties, you will see a new option called Resize Rows. Set it to All. You will be able to set a row height value. If you set the value too low, Revit will revert to the minimum value of the font height. Modifying schedules with images is now different. When there's an image, you have to resize the image column to change the row's height. In Revit 2024, you can also set the Resize Rows option to Image Rows. This way, you can set a specific row height for all rows containing an image. If you set the Resize Rows option to all rows will have the same height, regardless of if there's an image or not. Feature number 13. Place multiple views on sheet. In the old Revit, you cannot place more than one view at a time on a sheet. If you try to do so, only the first selected one will be placed. In Revit 2024, you can select multiple views and drag them on a sheet. They will be placed in a grid format. You can place views but also legends and schedules. Feature number 14. Open sheet directly from drawing. When inside of a view, you will find a command called Open Sheet in the right-click menu. Using this will open the sheet where the view is placed. Feature number 15. Control Draw Order in 3D families. Revit 2023 introduced the ability to create regions in 3D families. However, it's possible you had inconsistent graphical results when printing. In Revit 2024, this issue has been fixed. In addition, you can now use draw order tools when drafting 2D elements. In this example, we select the masking region and click on Bring to Front. Feature number 16. Project parameters are sorted alphabetically. In the old Revit, all user-created project parameters are sorted by the moment they were added to the project. You cannot change this order. In Revit 2024, user-created project parameters will be placed in alphabetical order. The moment of creation doesn't matter anymore. As you can see here, we create a parameter with the number prefix. Instead of being placed at the bottom of the list, it is placed in the correct order. Feature number 17. Move Align to Sheet. Select all the views in a sheet. Use the right-click menu and select Move Align to Sheet. Select the sheet to which you want to move the selected views. The views will not only be moved to the selected sheet, but their position will be preserved. Feature number 18. Resizable Dialogs. Almost all dialog windows in Revit 2024 can now be resized. Feature number 19. Pattern option when using Align. When using the Align tool, you will see a new option called Pattern. This only has an effect when you are using the Align tool on an element that has multiple surfaces, such as this Toposolid. If you select the entire surface option, the pattern of all surfaces will be affected when you use Align. If you pick the selected face option, only the pattern on a specific face of the element will be affected. Feature number 20. Change the collaboration cache path in the local disk. If you are using BIM 360, you might have noticed that the local Revit files are hidden. They're actually located in the hidden cache folder. In Revit 2024, you can now change the location of this folder. Go to Options, then to Cloud Models. Click here to change the folder. If your C drive doesn't have enough space, you could use a different drive instead. If you want to learn about a few more new features, or if you want to learn about the MEP and structure improvements, check out the links in the video description. Don't forget to check out our Revit Pure learning packages. Instead of purchasing our packages one by one, we're offering our triple thread learning package bundle, so you can effortlessly master Revit from start to end. Go to revitpure.com/bundle and get 30% off when you combine the 3 courses.